Fighting for freedom, liberty, and the restoration of the Constitution. The Patrick Riggins Show. Call in now at 865-243-8255. That's 243-TALK. And now your host, Patrick Riggins.
This is Patrick Riggins, the sunshine of your life.
And the griping does not stop between the segments.
Yeah, it goes on during commercials.
We sit here and gripe so much even during the commercials.
Yes. That we could do a show with if we just recorded what was going on during the commercials.
We'd have to bleep some of it.
Yeah, some of the stuff you'd have to edit. A little redacting there. But it would be good. You would find out a lot about Tory. And, you know, that ballerina costume he keeps in the closet. Yeah. I don't know.
I just look like a hippie on the outside. Not on the inside.
Oh, gosh. We could just go way down that road and end up having the signal turned off.
Focus.
The show.
Yes.
The show's the important
What
thing.
segment we on here?
We're on third segment.
All right, let's go.
All right, here we go. All right. What do we have here? Oh, this segment. Okay, I was reading a story on Breitbart.com, which I know a lot of you are instantly going, oh, I can't believe he reads that. Some of you are probably saying, yeah, he should be reading that. Much like the Libertarian philosophy, it kind of makes people mad on either side sometimes. But anyway, this story was by Matthew Doyle, and it was noting, and it came out probably a week ago or so, but it noted their rumblings within the House Republicans. They're going to try and oust Boehner, the House Speaker Boehner, when Congress reconvenes in January. Now, I've, of course, talked about Boehner on this show, and a lot of you know I'm not a big fan. And if you want to hear some of that ranting and raving, go to our YouTube website at youtube.com/Patrick Riggins Show. But the article states that dissatisfaction with Boehner is growing in the House Republican Conference. The article says those members and staffers requested anonymity from Breitbart News at this time to prevent retaliation from Boehner, similar to what happened to those 4 Tea Party members who were purged from their powerful committee assignments a few weeks ago, which, if you're a regular listener to the show, you heard me note that back when that first happened. And again, if you want to listen to any of that while I'm thinking about it, it's youtube.com/Patrick Riggins Show, and there you can listen to all the past shows as well as each individual segment of the show. They go through and cut out the segments too, so if you don't want to hear the whole show, you can just go right to the segment you want to listen to. But anyway, in case you're wondering, with all this going on, if there's any chance Nancy Pelosi could get back in as Speaker, the article notes that it's pretty doubtful. It is still not possible for Pelosi to become Speaker because even with 100% of Democrats united behind her and a split GOP vote, she still can't get in. Now, the reason is because to become Speaker, you have to have an absolute majority of all votes cast for an individual. So what that means is if all 201 Democrats voted for Pelosi, Boehner gets 1 vote, and the remaining 233 Republicans each vote for a different individual. Each of them voted for 233 different people. Pelosi still does not win. She would need 218 votes to reach the majority of the 435 that's in Congress, cast for an individual. Since Republicans have a 33-vote advantage in the House, the only way Nancy Pelosi wins is if 17 Boehner opponents would have to affirmatively vote for Nancy Pelosi or abstain rather than vote for an alternate candidate. Of course, both of those are avoided because they'll vote for somebody other than Pelosi. So as long as they do that, then she can't get in. The same argument also applies if fewer than 435 members show up to vote. The magic number would be less than 218, but Pelosi still can't get in there as long as there's more Republicans in the room than Democrats, and they don't abstain or vote for her. So, anyway, the Republicans may be getting a little backbone and starting to stand up to the leadership, which clearly have them on the wrong road. I can't help but think this is partially coming because of the unfair treatment of the more conservative / libertarian wing of the party. Boehner was clearly behind that. It's about time the party turns on him and puts him out. He's nothing but an embarrassment to the Republicans, and hopefully the Tea Party people can rally around someone with firmer principles. Part of Boehner's problem is that he seems intent on trying to work something out with the president as far as this fiscal cliff is concerned. And the president doesn't care if we go over this cliff, which, as I noted in my last segment, we already have. It's mainly because I think most people in Washington, they all realize this as well, that we're over the cliff. What I mean by that is what I noted. We're too far in debt to get back. Not unless we do some real serious cutting of government spending, which you and I both know is not going to happen. We have spent so much money and put ourselves so far in debt. And I know this before. If you took everyone's money in the United States, we still couldn't get out of this mess. The only thing we can do is start getting ourselves ready for what is coming and putting people who will act courageously and in line with the Constitution. That's the real solution to this coming problem. No, I'm not being a conspiracy nut or an end of times person. I'm merely stating the truth. That's what you come to expect on this show. It's simple math. There's no calculus, no advanced trig. It's just addition and subtraction. If you're spending more money than you make, then it's only a matter of time until you're broke. Unfortunately, our government employees, otherwise known as our representatives, are not wanting to confront the truth and prefer to kick the can down the road and let someone else take the heat for solving the problem. The time, though, is rapidly approaching when we won't be able to do that. The can will be too big to kick down the road. In fact, we'll be in danger of it having, roll back over us. What happens during that time will depend largely on the quality of people we have elected to Congress. And that's why I prod you each week to start putting together a campaign yourself or help someone else get theirs going and help get those good people elected. Otherwise, the government will use the coming fiscal crisis, just like they're doing with this shooting up there in Newtown. They're going to use that to take away even more of your freedoms and liberties. If you don't believe me, you don't think that could happen, what do you think the founders of this country would say about all the intrusions happening now? To give you a hint, Homeland Security would probably label them all terrorists and imprison them. Here are some quotes from Thomas Jefferson. The strongest reason for the people to retain the right to keep and bear arms is, as a last resort, to protect themselves against tyranny and government. He also said, laws that forbid the carrying of arms disarm only those who are neither inclined nor determined to commit crimes. Such laws make things worse for the assaulted and better for the assailants. They serve rather to encourage than to prevent homicides, for an unarmed man may be attacked with greater confidence than an armed man. He also said, what country can preserve its liberties if its rulers are not warned from time to time that this people preserve the spirit of resistance? Let them take arms. The remedy is to set them right as to the facts, pardon and pacify them. What signify a few lives lost in a century or two? The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. It is its natural manure. Are these the words of a terrorist? The government would certainly label them as such. If Thomas Jefferson were alive today, he certainly would be on a TSA watch list and would probably be picked out of line at the airport for those, quote, random searches, unquote, they usually reserve for the 80-year-olds and the young women. All of this because he spoke of freedom. If you read the FBI advisories, they would probably label this radio show incendiary. All because I speak of wanting back this country's freedoms that we used to have. Not new freedoms, not new rights, not new liberties, only the ones that have been confiscated from the citizens of this country. Rights and freedoms we had when this country began. Now, they'll say, if I want those back, I must be a nut or a terrorist or someone wanting to start a rebellion. Anyway, we're up on the last break here on the Patrick Riggins Show. we'll be back with the last segment. We'll probably continue along this little line and talk a little bit about, well, we'll wrap up kind of this gun control stuff and hopefully put it to bed before the new year. So we'll be back in a little bit here on the Patrick Riggins Show. Be sure and listen to these messages. These are the people who help keep this show on the air.
People sleeping in their shoes.